Hello and welcome to WHSH TV. I'm Joe Dyer and with me is JJ Brown.
We welcome you to another edition of WHSH TV News.
Coming up for you on today's show, we have an update on a local organization, leadership change, and the highlights on what the local businesses do to fight cancer.
Also, you'll hear about a few events taking place here at WHS that might interest you, as well as introducing you to someone very important to the school corporation.
All that and much more. It's Friday, March 11th, and you're watching WHSH TV. Welcome to WHSH TV. First up for today, we have some news about a share of a local organization. Just a few weeks ago, WHSH sat down with former Daviess County Executive Director Brenda Stavecki to talk to her about what she does for the community. Shortly after the story, former Director Brenda Stavecki retired and Zella Taylor was hired as the new director. Ms. Taylor assumed leadership on March 4th. In light of this, we sat down with Ms. Taylor and asked her what her goals are.
I am the new executive director. I am taking over from Brenda Stavecki. She's retiring, or did retire on Friday, so that's how I got there. I've been there about a week, so I think to bring awareness about the ALICE community, which ALICE is an acronym for Asset Limited Income Constrained Employed, which means they have an income, people are working, but there's just not enough to meet the needs like basic transportation or childcare, food, stuff like that. So that's kind of the main point of 2016, is bringing awareness to ALICE and how can we help those people in the community. Well, it'll be my first time actually. So Day of Caring is in September, and it's really a large event. It's the largest event that United Way does. So yeah, I plan on being involved. I'm sure we'll be busy that day. You can find us on Facebook under the United Ways of Daviess County. You can also go to the website, that's unitedwayofdaviesscounty.org.
Ms. Taylor received her associate's degree in business administration from Ivy Tech Community College, and then attended St. Mary's of the Wood in Terre Haute, where she earned her bachelor's degree. Then she also attended Indiana Wesley University, where she earned her master's. Ms. Taylor is also certified to coach and hopes that she will be able to lead the organization. In other news, Family Video is hosting their National Rounded Up for Lymphoma fundraiser. This fundraiser starts today and ends on March 27th. When is it taking place in a local Family Video? Karen Hill, Ms. Hill started at 100% of the donations are used for the life-saving research. Here is Ms. Hill with more information on the event.
So lymphoma is a blood cancer, and not many people know about it. They don't have a lot of research for it, so that's why we do our Rounded Up campaign every year. So Family Video, every year in March, well, for the last 4 years anyway, this is our 5th year, we do a Rounded Up campaign. People can come in, and whenever they pay, for their transaction, we ask them to round it up to the nearest dollar. So they can donate that way, or we also take monetary donations. We also give away prizes, like every time they donate money, according to how much they donate, they're entered in to win a prize. We've raised $4.7 million so far in the last 4 years, so we're really hoping to, since this is our 5th year, we want to, make it that 5 million mark. Well, we have lots of gift certificates. Of course, the radio station has donated some tickets to the Pacers game, and right now that's really all we know we have. We are going to have a bake sale and a yard sale, and all the money that's made from those will go to lymphoma as well. This isn't just here. This happens at all of our Family Video locations and Marco's Pizza. So we don't have a Marco's around here. There is one in Jasper. So if anybody wants to donate and can't make it into the store, they can go on familyvideo.com and they can donate money there as well. Or if they want to learn any more about lymphoma or the research foundations that we give our money to.
Lymphoma is the most common blood cancer among adults, a third of the common among children. Every day, approximately 220 Americans are diagnosed with some type of lymphoma. Be sure to visit at any family video nationwide so you can help. All proceeds go to the National Lymphoma Research Foundation. Turning now to a story more important to many of those who drive. What maintenance should you use on your vehicle after a long winter? WHSH spoke to Kevin Yoder of Yoder's Auto and Repair in Washington about what you should do to get your car or truck ready for spring.
That obviously we would want to do is, and I highly recommend that after a rough winter the car does come in for a thorough inspection. But one of the first things we would do is bring the car in and have one of our certified AFC master technicians do a thorough inspection. And what that would consist of is putting the car on the lift and going through a series of checklists, which would involve checking tires for wear, tires for pressure, checking front and rear suspension as far as inner and outer tie rod ends, wheel bearings, front and rear brakes, and on brakes, also checking the inner brake pad and the outer brake pad due to the fact that if there's uneven brake wear, that could be one of the reasons, or one of the causes, of a faulty caliper, and that could be on the front or the rear. Other things that we would want to definitely look at is the battery, the alternator, the starter, and the electronic system, and to make sure that not only that it made it through the winter, but that it's ready for spring, and then obviously, of course, for the hot summer ahead. And the best way to tell what your tire pressure is on your car is on the driver's side of your vehicle. Inside the door panel, there'll be a sticker from the factory that will give you the exact tire size for your car and the exact tire pressure for your car, which is what we obviously recommend following factory specifications. It's down to 3 to 4 30 seconds. Tires are measured in 30 seconds. Most tires start out at 12 30 seconds, and when they get to 3 to 4 30 seconds, we then start to talk to the customer about it's time to start thinking about new tires. Or we also have used tires available, but it's definitely time to have that conversation. Otherwise, you start getting into secondary rubber. And once you get into what we call secondary rubber, that is where wires start to come out and your tires start to feel, smooth. You really put yourself in a very, very serious, dangerous situation. And what I mean by that is water, and especially in springtime with the rainy season of March and April and even into May, there's lots of rain showers, and it's called hydroplaning. And hydroplaning has caused lots of car wrecks and even as far as deaths. And it comes from trying to get that extra 1,000 miles out of those tires. And our theory is, when you break down tire measurements, if you're at 3 to 4 30 seconds and it's a car you're going to keep, is it worth keeping that car or those tires for another 1,000 miles at the risk of putting not only your own family at risk but someone else? We would recommend, as a professional facility, is the first rule of thumb is when the check engine light comes on, what happens with as far as the engine running? Did it change the way it was running? Is it running rough? Is it, did the light just come on and nothing else happened? Or are you noticing other things happening? you should instantly start to look at the gauges. Heat gauge, battery gauge, all the gauges in your cluster or in your dash, and see if those are in the normal range. And what I mean by the normal range, normally the normal range on most gauges will be straight up and down. If they are over 75% or in the red, you need to pull over to a safe distance and shut the car off instantly. As far as the SES light, or service engine soon light as what we would call it, what we would recommend you do is call us when the light comes on, and what we would tell you to do is come by at your convenience.
Remember, after a long and rough winter, be sure to check your tires and keep your vehicle properly maintained. Coming up after the break, we will have a quick look at your weekend forecast. Don't forget to move your clocks forward. An hour on Saturday. Spring is just around the corner. You're watching WHSH TV.
In the small town of Elmira, New York, a boy was born into an all-American family. The odds of him opening his own clothing store at the age of 18? 1 in 138,000. To be a part of pop culture, he packed for the big city. The odds of finding someone to invest in his vision? 1 in 4.5 million. The odds of him achieving his dream in the fashion industry? 1 in 23 million. The odds of having a child diagnosed with autism? 1 in 68. I am Tommy Hilfiger, and my family is affected by autism. Learn more at autismspeaks.org/signs. Early diagnosis can make a lifetime of difference.
Back to WHSH TV, let's take a quick look at your weather. Currently, there's a high of 62 and a low of 49, and it's partly cloudy. A look at this weekend's weather. A look at this weekend's weather. Next week, there'll be highs around mid-70s and lows around mid-50s, and rain ending the week. Now that was your weather. We'll be right back here on WHSH.
They'll test you. Try to break your will. But however loud the loudness gets, however many cheese puffs may fly, you're the driver, the one in control. Stand firm. Just wait. And move only when you hear the click that says they're buckled in for the drive. Never give up till they buckle up.
Doesn't see race. Love is love.
Welcome back to WHSH TV. Here on WHSH TV, we have interviewed many of the facility and the administrators of Washington Community Schools. One very important administrator has yet to have his time in the spotlight, and that may be because he has only been here a year. Just this past August, Washington Community Schools hired a new assistant superintendent. Mr. Kevin Frank is the new assistant superintendent, as WHSH had the privilege to speak with him.
My name is Kevin Frank. I am the assistant superintendent and curriculum director for Washington Community Schools. I started in August of 2015. I enjoy my job. Previously, I had been the high school principal at Eastern Green for 9 years. Before that, I had been assistant principal at Eastern Green, and before that, I was a math teacher and coach at Eastern Green. So this job has been a lot different than what I'm used to. Probably the biggest difference has been my whole career. I've been around students, and I probably missed that the most, just not connecting with students and meeting students and seeing them in the hallway. So I have to work at that a little bit, making sure that I'm just not staying in my office the whole time. I try to find reasons to get out into the buildings and visit teachers and see the principals, and then as I get a chance to interact with some of the students. So this is great that you all are interviewing me so that I can get in and meet some of you, and this is my first time in this classroom, and I think it's awesome what we have here for radio and TV broadcasting.
Mr. Kevin Frank's main job at Washington is to coordinate the curriculum. He explains more about his duties and activities he participates in his daily, typical routine.
So as assistant superintendent, my main role is curriculum director, and so what a lot of that entails is, you know, in the last couple of years, the state of Indiana has introduced new standards, so that's been something we've worked really hard on, is looking to see how the standards align here in Washington. Another role that I have is coordinating a lot of the professional development that goes on, probably more so in the elementary right now, but planning, you know, some of the training topics, keeping track of some of the workshops that we send teachers to, keeping track of the grant money that we have available for professional development. Another thing would be some of the grants that we get, federal grants that come through the United States government. Those are called title grants, and some of our schools receive money that I have to coordinate, make sure that we're following all the rules and regulations and how you spend that money. Called the test coordinator, corporation test coordinator. So obviously we've got ISTEP going on, which we're coming to the end of the first round of ISTEP for this spring. Next week we have iRead in all the third grades in the district going on. So today I've been spending time trying to get that all organized and getting information out to the buildings for iRead. In January and February, I spent a lot of my time on the WHSH access testing. So students that are English learners here in the district, they have to take a test. That was actually a time that I was up in Mrs. Beekler's room, and I actually got to meet some of those students that were going through that test. So test coordinator is a big piece to the job.
If you ever see Mr. Frank in the hallways or around town, be sure to welcome him to our community. We are glad to have him here at Washington Community Schools. Next Wednesday, you might actually get to meet Mr. Frank in person, right here at WHS. The annual high school Hatchet's Highlight will be held next Wednesday, March 16th in the cafeteria, auditorium, and gym. Hatchet's Highlight is open to the public and is a chance for residents to firsthand see some of the extracurricular activities that the students are involved with at WHSH. The band, choir, clubs, and other groups will have a display and demonstration to show off their group. The radio TV class will have some highlights from their project from over the past year. This evening begins with a soup dinner in the cafeteria starting at 5:30. Again, everyone is welcome to see, and we hope to see you there. As many of you know, spring is just around the corner, and with spring comes spring break. Students and teachers seem to be looking forward to this week away from school so they can enjoy and have the warm weather. Have you ever wondered where to go for spring break? Here are the top 5 most visited spring break destinations: Austin, Texas, Cabo San Lucas, Mexico, Tampa, Florida, Las Vegas, Nevada, and New Orleans, Louisiana. We spoke with some WHSH students to find out where they are going for their week off.
Where are you going for spring break, and what are your plans?
I think I'll be going to Juneau, Alaska to be visiting some family.
All right, thank you.
I'm going on a mission trip with my church.
I'm going to go to St. Louis to watch some March Madness games.
Well, I'm staying in Washington.
Sounds like spring break can't get here soon enough. Coming up after the break, Solomon Davis will have a look back at last week's sectionals and Saturday's big game regional tournament. You're watching WHSH TV.
This new dad is picturing a tree house in the sky, but he's ignoring the instructions. Good luck, big guy. His kids know that he's building without a clue. Never been so good with nails and glue. Now we're trapped inside a box. I hope mom knows what to do. Mom! See, you don't have to be perfect to be the perfect parent.
Thousands of siblings in foster care will take you just as you are.
Oh! Checking your fantasy league?
Nah, just my 401k statement.
Nice. Where'd you find the money for that?
I just been saving a little every month.
I can't seem to save anything.
Well, what about all this? What about the money you're spending?
What money? It's gone before I can get my hands on it.
I got a pizza for a Todd.
Hey, can somebody spot me?
When it comes to financial stability, don't get left behind.
It's 547.
Get tools and tips for saving at feedthepig.org.
Welcome back. I'm Solomon Davis for WHSH Sports. First up, we're going to take a look back at the Washington versus Jasper sectional game that took place last week. The first day of March came with great temperatures, but a heart-wrenching loss for the Hatchets. The Hatchets kept the game close, but the Wildcats eventually ran away with the game in the end, 47-46. The Hatchets ended the year on an 18-5 record. Congrats to Jacob Overton, Colton Garland, and Connor Brown for being selected to the Big 8 All-Conference team. The Hatchets end their season with a 5-1 record in the Big 8 Conference. The championship was split in a three-way tie between Washington, Jasper, and Vincennes. The winner of this year's sectional was Pike Central. For their first game, the Chargers barely clinched the win against Princeton Community Schools, but they came out on top at the buzzer, getting the win 49-48. Pike Central advanced and beat Southridge 55-35, preparing them for the final game against Jasper. It was a fight that would come down to who wanted it more, and it looked like the Chargers were the hungrier team as they came out with the win 49-47. Game 1 of regionals features Greensburg 16-7 versus Silver Creek 17-4. Game 2 will be Pike Central 20-5 versus Evansville Bosse 16-10. Even though Bosse has the worst record in this regional, I would not be surprised to see them come out on top and win the entire regional. The regionals takes place tomorrow at the Hatchet House. We will be providing live coverage of all three games right here on WHSH TV. Speaking of regionals, there's quite a bit of work that goes into the big one-day event. Even though the Hatchets are not playing this year, Washington High School still benefits from hosting the regional tournament. John Newton, president of the Washington Boys Basketball Booster Club, spoke with us about how they are getting ready for the regional games on Saturday.
Loading pop. I have another order that I have brought in and getting ready to finish filling these tonight. And then we have what we call case coolers, where after I see who is going to be in the regional and kind of get with Coach Miller to see ticket-wise what the schools take, and then I order again the week of the regional, because a lot of times during the games you empty your cooler and you have to pull a code case out to keep going. So that's one of the biggest things, is trying to figure out what teams are going to be here and kind of crowds they bring. And another thing that plays into this, with it being spring, if it's a warm day, you're going to sell a lot more drinks. Just for our concession stand, we will need probably 12 during the afternoon game, or morning game with Gate 1, and approximately 8 altogether at Gate 4, because we do keep pretty busy. We get our volunteers usually from the 7th grade on up to high school, the varsity team, and the parents volunteer and work, and that's where we get our workers from. Here we bring the biggest, usually have the biggest, but this year I'm anticipating that if Pike Central would win the sectional, they will probably bring the biggest. In the past, the last few years, Brownstown Central usually brings a nice following, and stuff. So, I mean, we just kind of have to wait and see who's here this year, but in the past, Brownstown Central has been the big one so far. Although we do sell a lot of candy, but I mean, your drinks is our biggest seller. However, we do go through a lot of food, especially in the regional. With this starting at 10:30 in the morning, people are hungry. We usually at the regional serve Amish homemade cinnamon rolls in the morning also. And then we have our hot dogs and conies, and we get pizzas in. And also at Gate 4, we have the ultimate nachos, and those things are big, big sellers. So, I mean, we sell a lot of everything, but your drinks is your number one.
The regional tournament begins Saturday morning with 3 games held throughout the day. One final bit of sports news. Congrats to Lady Hatchet standout Jenna Johnson as she was named to the Indiana All-State Honorable Mention list. Jenna Johnson, Caitlin Davis, and Carrie Lane all competed in the Indiana North versus South All-Star game earlier this month. And finally, an upset today in the Big Ten tournament. The Indiana Hoosiers were upset by Michigan this afternoon. Michigan outscored IU 11-3 in the final minutes to pull off the win. Purdue is facing Illinois now at Bankers Life Fieldhouse, and Michigan beat IU 72-69. Now, for WHS TV Sports, I'm Solomon Davis. Have a great weekend, and we'll see you at the game.
Of all the things you've done with your bike, donating it to Goodwill may be the most incredible of all. Your donations help fund job placement and training for people in your community, which means your stuff can be more powerful than you think. Goodwill. Donate stuff, create jobs.
When I was 6, my days were spent playing basketball. When I was 6, my dream was to make it to the NBA. When I was 6, my mom had a stroke.
I'm Paul George, and I want you to spot a stroke fast.
F, face drooping. A, arm weakness. S, speech difficulty. T, time to call 911.
Protect the ones you love.
Spot a stroke fast.
Welcome back to WHSH. I'm JJ Brown. Let's take a quick look at your extended weather forecast for the weekend coming up. Currently, the high is 62 with a low around 49, and it is partly cloudy. Now let's take a look at the weather map. Starting off on the East Coast, we got some rain and snow up northwest, or northeast, my bad. There's some a low front coming in towards going down towards the south. There's no precipitation in Florida, so far it's looking good for spring break for people going down to Florida. There's possible flash flooding down here in Louisiana. Look at the West Coast. There's some rain and snow up northwest, and there's some rain down in the lower California region. Now for a look at our weekend weather. For the weekend, there's high 70s, low mid-50s, and rain showers going out throughout the weekend. Now look at for next week's weather. For next week, it's high mid-70s, low mid-50s, and rain to end the week.
Thanks, JJ. With spring nearly around the corner, and the weather shows it, just remember to set your clocks forward an hour on Saturday. For all of us here at WHSH, I'm Joseph Dyer, and thanks for watching.
So who's going to do what?
I'll pack the dead batteries.
Great.
I'll only put what I don't need into a duffel bag.
Perfect. That's totally unhelpful.
No problem.
Meanwhile, I will try to comfort everyone by speaking in a calm voice. And who is going to handle supplies?
I can forget to do a list for us.
Thanks, pal.
We couldn't be any less prepared. I'm proud of you guys.
Talk to your kids about who to call, where to meet, what to pack. Visit ready.gov/kids for tips and information.
They told me a bottle couldn't dream. That I would never become a superhero. But I learned how to fly. Just to come back in a new disguise. And be the hero that I've always wanted to be.